Death is a crucial part of a video game story. It leaves great impacts on players wondering why their favorite character has to suddenly abandon the game. Seeing our favorite tough guys getting killed brutally and inhumanely leaves the player in melancholy. Welcome to BingeTv. Today we've put together some of the most shocking and heartbreaking top 10 saddest character deaths in video games. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and to turn notifications on for more videos like this one. 10th place, Charles from Henry Stickman. First, we have Charles Calvin's death from Henry Stickman. Charles is the deuteragonist of the Henry Stickman series and a veteran helicopter pilot who works for the government and an experienced pilot. He is assigned to help Henry Stickman infiltrate the Toppat clan airship. Charles is a huge fan of crashing his helicopter into places. After Henry succeeds in his mission, both of them plan to ride back to Earth when they are suddenly ambushed by jacked Human. Henry is forced out of the escape pod, motivating Charles to tackle Human and throw Henry back inside. Before Charles can make it back to the pod himself, Human tackles him down. The pod closes with only Henry inside and launches into space for Earth, leaving Charles on the doomed space station. Charles sacrificed his own life to save Henry. Charles's death has left all the game players in tears. 9th place, Lenny, Red Dead Redemption 2. Lenny's sudden death in Red Dead Redemption 2 has left fans devastated. Lenny Summers was a young and likable gang member whom Arthur considered a friend. Players got to know Lenny in the memorable A Quiet Time mission, and his innocence and enthusiasm made him one of the easiest characters to root for. Lenny was shot dead and ends up as one of the major casualties of the Dutch's ridiculous plan to rob the Saint Denis Bank, and his death represents a loss of morality for the Van der Linde gang. The loss of Lenny also clearly affects Arthur, who begins to have fewer people to rely on in the gang. 8th place, Lugo Spec Ops: The Line. John Lugo is the tritagonist of Spec Ops: The Line and a member of the Walker's squad. The game begins with Walker, Adams, and Lugo flying in a helicopter past the skyscrapers of Dubai, shooting down several pursuing helicopters until a sudden sandstorm forms, causing one of the pursuers to spin out of control and crash into the trio. After coming across refugees being rounded up by the 33rd, the team intervenes, but the 33rd soldiers mistake them for CIA operatives and begin a firefight. After Lugo kills the radio man, Walker informs the city of Delta's planned evacuation effort. Walker awakens in the middle of the desert and reunites with Adams, but is too late to stop Lugo from being lynched by a mob of civilians. Lugo is captured by a furious mob of refugees angered at Delta's squads and Gray Fox's actions. They hang him to death while no one is there to rescue him. 7th place, Wander, Shadow of the Colossus. Wander from Shadow of the Colossus is a heroic young man on a quest to save a young girl, Mono. A mysterious voice tells him that Mono will be resurrected if he is capable of slaying 16 powerful colossi that prowl the surrounding lands. A faithful steed named Agro accompanies Wander on this quest, allowing him to cover the expansive world faster and slay some of the faster colossi. Along the way, Wander loses his companion, which is heartbreaking enough on its own. The last boss fight is a bittersweet struggle with fresh wounds of probable loss tapping against the mind. The ending sees Wander perish right after the conclusion of his quest. He left the world without seeing Mono resurrected. 6th place, Sarah, The Last of Us. Sarah's death is indeed the most painful one from The Last of Us. Sarah dies in her father's arms just minutes into the game. The premise of this post-apocalyptic survival horror focuses on an infection that turns humans into cannibalistic hosts called the Infected. While fleeing from the areas of Infected, Joel carries his injured daughter into the forest. They encounter a soldier on the way who suddenly shoots at them. Joel attempts to save Sarah, but she gets shot in the stomach and dies. 5th place, Duncan Dragon Age. Next, we have Duncan's death in Dragon Age. Duncan is one of the major characters in the game. He possessed a strong killer instinct and was a skilled diplomat and a powerful warrior. In the fortress of Ostagar, people are preparing themselves for a battle with the Dark Spawn to stop the plague. Duncan meets his companion Alistair. Both of them are sent into the Korkeri wilds to collect samples of Darkspawn blood and to retrieve scrolls with treaties that the Grey Wardens once used to help in fighting the plague from the kingdoms of Thedas. They meet Morrigan, a witch who invites them to the house of her mother, a powerful witch Flemeth. After a conversation with her, they obtain the scrolls and return to Ostagar. Soon the dusk comes and the army takes its positions. Duncan and Alistair have to make it to the top of a nearby tower and light signal fire, which will mark the beginning of the battle. As they do that, Loghain commits treachery and backs up his forces. Duncan fights like a true warrior till the end, but gets killed by the enemies. 4th place, Richtofen, Black Ops 4 Zombies. Next up we have Richtofen's brutal death from Black Ops 4 Zombies. There are 2 versions of Richtofen in the game. During their mission to secure their souls, the Primus crew takes a detour to Alcatraz Island, where Richtofen plans to acquire blood vials, items he deems necessary for his insurance policy to protect his companions. Upon encountering a past version of himself, Richtofen is given the Chronorium book, where he comes to know that his blood is now demanded by the prison's warden. Primus learns that the warden, working for the ancient Apothecon, intends to use Richtofen's blood to power a special machine called the Dark Mechanism, due to it containing a massive amount of aether energy. Richtofen eventually enters the Dark Mechanism and willingly lets it extract his blood, hoping for a chance at defeating the warden. This in turn releases another Richtofen who has lived through a previous cycle of the events and kept himself cryogenically frozen under Alcatraz for years. Richtofen hands the Chronorium to Nikolai and passes over the leadership mantle, convincing the latter that his soul is needed to defeat the omnipotent Dr. Monty. The new cycle's Richtofen is left to die as his blood is drained by the Dark Mechanism. 3rd place, Simon Ghost Riley, Call of Duty MW2. Next, we have Simon Riley's death in Call of Duty. Simon had a very traumatic childhood because of his psychopath father. After growing up, he joined the military, but on different occasions he was tortured and left to die. Sparks and Washington, who were once Riley's friends, slaughter Riley's whole family, leaving his father. Riley was framed for the murder of his family. He caught all his enemies one by one and killed them pitilessly. General Shepard recruits Riley into Task Force 141 under the name Ghost. Shepard deduced the last 2 safe havens for Makarov and his men at a safe house on the Georgian-Russian border and an airplane boneyard in Afghanistan. Knowing they have to be at 2 different places at once, Ghost nominates himself and Roach, along with a bulk of Task Force 141, to take the safe house. After raiding the safe house, however, Makarov was nowhere to be found, though the safe house was loaded with intel. Ghost, along with Roach, protected a DSM from Makarov's men while it downloaded sensitive information regarding Makarov's operations. After finishing the download, the team headed to the LZ that was set up by Shepard. Roach was injured, but Ghost managed to get him to the LZ. Both were ultimately betrayed by Shepard, who fatally shot the 2 in the chest at point-blank range with a .44 Magnum just before Ghost could use his ACR. After Shepard retrieved the DSM from Roach, Ghost's body was thrown into a ditch and set on fire along with Roach's. 2nd place, Dom, Gears of War 3. Next up we have Dom's death from Gears of War 3. Marcus learns that Azura is protected by man-made hurricane generators, making the island only accessible by submarine. Marcus and his comrades successfully find a submarine but require emulsion to fuel it. Dom suggests they first venture to an abandoned town called Mercy, where they discover that humans are becoming lambent. During the battle, the Gears are nearly overrun by Locust and Lambent. Dom finds out that there is no way out and he's got to save his whole crew. He tears through a tunnel back towards the overwhelming grub infestation. Explosions rip through the Locust, saving Dom's team from certain death. The game that redefined bravery had players sobbing for Dom and the relationship we'd built up over 3 games. 1st place, Joel from Last of Us Part 2. Joel Miller in Last of Us was one of the most beloved characters in the game. The most shocking scene happened in the game when a woman named Abby kills Joel. The game reveals that Abby and her friends traveled from Seattle to kill Joel. Abby was the daughter of the former doctor who was trying to extract a vaccine from Ellie to have a chance of possibly finding a vaccine for the cordyceps infection. Joel broke in and saved Ellie, killing everyone in the room, including Abby's father. After years of search, Abby finds Joel and beats him to death with a golf club, bloody and crumpled on the floor. Fans are upset about Joel's death as they were expecting Joel to gain the advantage or for Tommy or Ellie to break free of the grasp and rescue Joel. So what are your thoughts on all these character deaths? Let us know in the comments below. Also, make sure to leave us a like, share this video with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time for more.